Welcome to this week's Supply Chain Update, brought to you by Phoenix International. Global ocean freight markets are seeing elevated demand and upward rate pressure across major trade lanes. On the Trans-Pacific eastbound, volumes remain strong with a potential late June spike as shippers expedite Southeast Asia cargo ahead of the July 9th tariff deadline. GRIs and PSS have been implemented, with possible further increases for East Coast routes. Far East westbound rates have surged over 23%, with tight space and selective booking acceptance pushing shippers to act early or risk higher costs. Meanwhile, the transatlantic westbound trade remains more stable as most carriers delay PSS rollouts until July. One carrier is testing a mid-June increase for West Mediterranean, but overall rate movement will likely hinge on how congestion and inland equipment issues unfold. Operational conditions remain mixed across global trade lanes. On the Trans-Pacific eastbound, equipment availability at Asian ports is stable with no major shortages, and service restoration is helping improve reliability. The Far East westbound lane, however, continues to face serious congestion at key ports like Shanghai, Singapore, Antwerp, and Hamburg, leading to transit delays and a rise in cargo rollovers. Meanwhile, the transatlantic westbound trade is still affected by disruptions in Northern Europe, particularly in Antwerp due to strikes, and equipment shortages persist across inland regions such as Austria, Hungary, Portugal, and Slovakia, where carrier haulage is recommended. Carriers are actively managing vessel space to meet shifting demand patterns. On the Trans-Pacific eastbound, capacity is recovering and expected to exceed standard levels by late June, with most suspended services now restored and blank sailings decreasing. Far East westbound capacity has tightened, down 17%, as vessels are redirected to top routes, leaving most June sailings fully booked and rollovers likely. Capacity on the transatlantic westbound lane remains steady despite regional port delays, with carriers continuing empty repositioning efforts to support inland and Mediterranean origins. As of June 6, 2025, the U.S. has narrowed the general exemption from reciprocal tariffs, while steel and aluminum components of derivative articles remain subject to Section 232 tariffs. Now at 50%, the non-steel and non-aluminum content of these products is also now subject to reciprocal tariffs. Previously excluded, these components must now be reported separately and will incur duties, marking a significant shift in how composite articles are assessed. APM Terminals has reduced its rail container backlog at the Elizabeth, New Jersey terminal from 4,000 to around 1,600 units. This move comes in response to rising imports influenced by tariff policy and alliance shifts. Dwell times had approached 9 days, prompting concerns ahead of a summer surge. East Coast ports are preparing for additional front-loading, and APM is focused on keeping terminal operations fluid. Spot rates on Trans-Pacific and Asia-Europe trades jumped sharply following the June 1 GRIs. Shanghai-Los Angeles rates climbed 57% week over week, while Shanghai-New York rose 39%. New GRIs are already planned for June 15th and July 1st. With space becoming scarce, importers are rushing shipments to avoid tariff-related costs, further tightening capacity. The U.S. trade deficit narrowed to $61.06 billion in April, its lowest level since 2023. Imports dropped by a record 16.3%, driven by reduced front-loading of goods as tariff deadlines shifted. Goods imports declined nearly 20%, while exports hit record highs. Analysts suggest this shift could boost ADP, but the outlook depends on inventory cycles and upcoming tariff decisions. And that concludes our update on the global supply chain. Thank you for joining us. We will continue to monitor these developments and keep you informed. You can follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube for more supply chain related updates.